You boys be quiet down there!
Welcome back to Neo Geo Generation. I'm Neo Alec. Today we'll be looking at NGH-027, Minasan no Okagesama Desu, Dai Sugoroku Taikai. This is a Japanese-only mahjong game. Okay, now before you turn this video off, I hope you'll give me a chance just to briefly explain what this cartridge is, and that you'll learn something interesting that you never knew before about this rarely talked about Neo Geo game. So please grab a snack, sit back, and let's learn more about this often overlooked title. The game was developed by Monolith. No, not Monolith Soft. Not Monolith Productions either. This Monolith also developed another Neo Geo mahjong game, which we'll be looking at in a future video. And they made one of the most unique unreleased Neo Geo games, so there's that. Who were Monolith? Well, Minasan no Okagesama Desu doesn't have any credits, but looking at their other release game, most of the staff is made up of people who worked on other games by SNK, so it's clear that, like we saw with Palace in the 8-man video, Monolith is closely related to SNK. NGH-027 is the highest NGH number with a copyright date of 1990 on the title screen. So from here on in this video series, we're finished with covering the Neo Geo's first year. It's all 1991 and newer from here on, folks. Minasan no Okagesama Desu Dai Sugoroku Taikai is a mahjong game loosely based on a long-running Japanese variety show starring the Japanese comedy duo Tunnels, which is made up of Takaaki Ishibashi and Noritake Kinashi. I say loosely because the game was made without permission from Fuji TV, who owned the show, or any of the celebrities whose likenesses were used for the game. While the actual name of the TV show was Tunnels no Minasan no Okage Desu, the game uses the similar title Minasan no Okagesama Desu in order to avoid legal trouble. And furthermore, the real names of the two celebrities and the name Tunnels never appear in the game, instead using cross-dressed likenesses of the characters named Nori-chan and Kamao. Such a blatant infringement of copyright may seem like a legal nightmare waiting to happen, but the rules governing copyright issues for arcade games in Japan at the time were so loose that Monolith was able to get away with this for both this game and Bakatono-sama, which they released later. The Tunnels duo did often cross-dress in the show, a common occurrence in Japanese comedy. But it is important to point out that even in Japan, a common reaction to this game was that the characters looked ugly. The cartoon versions of the characters, while drawn somewhat realistically, featured exaggerated facial hair and other facial features which were a turn-off for most players. Another turn-off of the game was its punishing difficulty. If you lose a match, you are sent back a certain number of spaces depending on which hand your opponent used to win. If you win, you will go forward a certain number of spaces depending on your hand, but even then the game board is littered with game over spaces everywhere, ensuring that players in the arcade will be wasting plenty of coins, even if they manage to win every match. Mercifully, unlike most Neo Geo games, this game gives you infinite credits in AES mode. In addition to the game over spaces, there are also question marks, where you will be randomly given an item or given nothing, the gal symbol, where you will be shown a girl in a swimsuit, the warai symbol, where you will be shown a short skit with the Tunnels characters, the angel symbol, which is a shortcut, the akuma symbol, which sets you back 10 spaces, and the Joker symbol, which looks like a tank. If you hit this space, the Joker tie appears. The Joker tie were characters who appeared on the show as the bad guys for their popular Kamen Rider parody sketches. If you hit this space, you lose either an item or points if you don't have any items to lose. Finally, the yen bag spaces are shops. Here you can use your points to buy useful items to help you win the matches. These include the Chibita capsule, where the kid character from their Kamen Rider parody sketches appears and shows you which tile you need to draw in order to win. Next is the Fun Fun Reach Bow, where Colonel Fun Fun, the antagonist in the Kamen Rider sketches, summons Reach Bow Man, the same way he would summon a different character monster in each episode of the show. Reach Bow Man resembles Ishibashi, who would often play the part of the monsters in the show. His high voice actually reminds me of the Joker tie, not the monsters from the show. He destroys every unneeded tile until the one you need to win appears. Other items include the Rieko no Fundoshi, which gives you the tiles you need to win. Maria no Cho Daitan, which explodes your enemy's tiles, giving them different ones. A kerosene can, which makes it so that your opponent can only win by Tsumo rather than Ron. And the Henshin belt, which trades in your unneeded tiles for different ones. Another very frustrating aspect of the game is the ending. Even if you manage to reach the goal and win the match, you don't really win unless you have over 100,000 points. If you have less than 100,000, you'll get a screen with your opponent taunting you. If you have over 100,000, it will show a woman beating your opponent to a bloody pulp, which is the closest thing this game has to an ending. You then start the game again from the beginning as the opposite character, and this continues endlessly. As you might expect, the quality of the music and sound in this title is somewhat mediocre as Neo Geo titles go. During the game, you will usually be hearing one of two main BGMs, depending on whether you're currently facing Nori-chan or Kamau, so there's little variety to the music. Nori-chan's music is without a doubt the better of the two. It's catchy with some nice percussion samples. The main melody is beepy, but it has a nice clean sound for a 1990 game. Kamau's theme is much more annoying. It sounds more like something that would play in the background of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show.
There we go. All the valves are tightened. Tightened? I thought we were loosening them.
I'll finish up over here. You go get the phone.
All right.
The game also features voices on the title screen and at the end of the match, the laugh on the continue screen, and a few here and there when certain gameplay actions are performed, such as the Riichi. So let's talk a bit more about the actual show that this game is ripped off of. Tunnels no Minasan no Okagesama ran from 1988 to 1997 on Fuji TV. During its early years, the show was a cultural institution in Japan so important it gave birth to a few popular Japanese slang still in use today. It sometimes broke 30% in TV ratings, an impressive statistic for a comedy show on Japanese TV.
どうしました？どうしよう、お茶になかった。
だよ、これどこにあったのだよ。
流しの横。
バカ、これはお前、牛のションベンだよ、お前。
ごめんなさい。今新しいの持ってきます。
すみません、お構いなく。
In the early years, it was a sketch comedy show starring the comedy duo Tunnels and several weekly guests. The show parodied other popular TV shows and movies of its time. It was then cancelled in 1997, only to be quickly revived later that same year under the new name Tunnels no Minasan no Okage Deshita, the same title but in past tense. Over time, the show focused less on sketch comedy and more on easier to produce talk segments in games, becoming more like many other Japanese variety shows. The guest in this clip is singer Eikichi Yazawa. It was finally cancelled as recently as 2018, and Tunnels still remain popular celebrities who appear frequently on Japanese TV today. It shouldn't come as too much of a surprise that Minasan no Okagesama Desu was never released for Neo Geo CD. By the time the Neo Geo CD was available, SNK was growing as a company, and the video game industry was changing rapidly. SNK probably looked at Minasan no Okagesama Desu in 1994 and just decided the copyright infringement wasn't worth a second go-around for this crappy game. So I hope all you Neo Geo CD fans aren't too disappointed that you missed this one.
Someday, somehow, some way, I'll get by. Later.
To Neo Geo collectors, this game is known as that weird mahjong game with the ugly 5 o'clock shadow guy, but it's interesting to know that the game was based on a TV show and characters that are still well known even today in Japan. On the other hand, upon a deeper dive, it's clear that it is not only a pretty mediocre mahjong game, but also a ripoff that was made without obtaining the necessary rights. This game definitely has its annoyances that make it frustrating, and the graphics are pretty ugly. The music is repetitive, so even if you find mahjong entertaining, you still may be better off skipping this one. This is probably the worst game we've seen in this video series so far. Mahjong Kyo Retsuden had far better presentation. In any case, Monolith's game is now a permanent part of the Neo Geo's history, and I'm interested in all things Neo Geo, so I hope you feel the same way and found this interesting. Thank you for watching another episode of Neo Geo Generation. Next time we'll be looking at, what? Another unreleased game? NGH-028, Dunk Star from Sammy. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to watch next time, where we'll be taking a closer look at this unreleased Neo Geo basketball game. Hope to see you then.